Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm your host, Patty Smucker, and I've been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. RadioAMB stands for American-Made Beauty, and it's where we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Now, our segment sponsor today is AmericanMadeBeauty.com. It's a beauty platform designed to help consumers find beauty companies that are implementing the industry's best practices to bring you quality products and services. If you'd like to sample some of our products, go to AmericanMadeBeauty.com and click on the consumer page and request products specifically for you. Now, early in my career, I used good instincts, leaps of faith, and hard work to achieve tremendous success. As many of you know who have been listening to the show, I was one of the first and became the second largest Aveda distributor in the United States. After I had achieved that kind of success and watched Aveda be purchased by Estee Lauder, I went back to school and got an academic degree, a college degree, to try and understand why it was that we had been so successful. My degree in business management and marketing taught me what were some of the best practices that companies in the industry, not only in the beauty industry but other industries, used in order to be able to plot their course and be more successful. My guest today is an inspirational story that started the same way. Kelly Kovack is a serial entrepreneur that has been and continues to be today at the epicenter of new innovations in beauty. During our feature segment, you'll hear her history and how she got into the industry and what her business called Beauty Matters is all about and why it's important. During our second segment with her today, we'll talk about white space, how she learned to identify it, and how she uses that to help brands turn this into an asset. And finally, we'll wrap up Kelly's segment in the show today with an information about one of the companies she's working with called All Works. During our last segment today, I'm going to be introducing a new program called Wellness for 2017. So let's get started by letting me tell you a little bit about our guest today. Kelly Kovack is a beauty industry veteran with a track record of success. An original member of the Bliss executive team, and she was pivotal in laying the groundwork leading up to LVMH's acquisition of the brand. Kelly has worked as an advisor and a strategist with emerging and established brands, including Mattel, Old Navy, Banana Republic, Dr. Dennis Gross Skincare, Carol's Daughter, So Cozy, All Works, and many others. She was co-founder of Rescue Beauty Lounge and is currently a principal of Brand Growth Management, CEO of Beauty Matters, and co-founder of award-winning niche fragrance brand Oda New York. She is a thought leader in the beauty category, featured in press, speaking globally at conferences, and a contributing editor. Welcome, Kelly. I'm thrilled to have you with us today.
Thanks, Patty.
So as we begin this story, all of our listeners love to hear how people got into the business. I know that you initially went to college for something that had nothing to do with beauty.
Yes, my parents had the idea that I was going to be a lawyer, and it sounded good to me. So I went to school and got a degree in political science with a minor in philosophy. But early on, decided that I was more interested in working than going to school and took a full-time position managing a Benetton store and found my way into retail following college, thinking that, oh, I have a job, I don't have to look for one, much to my parents' chagrin after paying all that money for tuition.
Right.
And so, yes, sometimes I think college is best for sort of figuring out what your interests are and following them.
And so you went to work in the retail business, and what was it about that was it just the paycheck, or were you intrigued by retail?
Well, I think sort of throughout my career, I've always found myself in a little over my head because I like challenges. So I worked for one of the distributors for Benetton. So essentially, I was given a lot of latitude and running my own business. So I had all the responsibilities of running a retail store, but then also the creativity of merchandising it and doing the windows. So I think it was the combination of creativity and business that really sort of kept me engaged.
And I love the idea that you mentioned the fact that you always found yourself in more challenging situations. Where did that confidence come from to sort of immerse yourself and take risks of leaps of faith, if you will, to do things that maybe you didn't know exactly how you were going to do it?
I'm not sure. I suppose it requires a bit of confidence, but I think I just, when I'm in a situation where I've learned everything I can learn or gotten a business to where it's somebody better suited to run the day-to-day, I sort of jump on to the next challenge. So I don't know if it's confidence or just a pretty short attention span or some combination thereof.
Right. And but it's great that you know that about yourself, and that you can continuously stimulate yourself by being able to find that next opportunity. So what was the opportunity that led you into the beauty industry?
Yeah, so, I think that very early on in my career, I found myself in positions where I'd stay for a year and a half, 2 years, and sort of ride it out until there was no sort of path forward that I could see. And I moved to New York shortly after college, and I knew that I could get a job in retail, which I did. I worked in Bergdorf Goodman in the men's store, and it was supposed to be a foot in the door to being a buyer, which is what I thought I wanted to do. But very early on, I was pretty good at what I was doing, and I was making 3 times what a buyer made, so I was never going to get a job in the buyer's office.
Right.
And found myself on the supply side of the fashion industry, and found myself in a situation where I just wasn't happy. It wasn't working for me. It wasn't the right environment. And my parents have always been incredibly supportive, and they're like, it's not worth it. We'll help you. You've got to get out of there. And a friend of mine was going to work for the spa and said, we need people to work at the front desk. And I was like, you know what, for the summer, that's fine. And the spa happened to be Bliss. Marcia Kilgore, the founder of Bliss,
and this is very early Bliss, because at that point it was only one spa, right?
It didn't even exist at this point.
Okay.
It was under construction.
Okay.
It was this completely hypothetical position, and we were all sort of in our mid-20s, so sort of fearless and don't know any better. And Marcia asked what I did at my current job, and I was running production and sales for about a $10 million leather supplier. And she said, well, she's not going to get a job in the summer anyway in fashion. Why doesn't she come and run the catalog I want to do? So we met, and I was like, I don't know how to do a catalog. And Marcia was like, I don't know how to do a catalog, but if you don't like it, you can always leave in September. And so I think it's one of those things where sometimes if you take a chance, you kind of never know what the result is going to be. And it was really sort of a defining decision in my career because none of us really knew what Bliss was going to be. And it was an interesting time in the beauty industry because it was, I'm dating myself now, but pre-internet.
Right.
It was even pre-selling beauty products through the mail. So I got told constantly that beauty products could not be sold in a catalog. I didn't understand why, and the reason was because it had never been done before. So there were three of us. Marcia had a very clear idea of what this brand was, and I think it was one of those times where it was, right time, right place, right group of people, and in a really short period of time, we built this business, a spa, a catalog, and product. Within, I started in 96 and 99, the business was sold to Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. But that was where I got my start in beauty, and it was where it sort of all came together to me that I could actually use business skills, but also be creative and have a creative outlet, and the two were not mutually exclusive. And also got the entrepreneurial bug, if you will. It was kind of a crazy ride, and we were so busy we didn't even realize what we were building sometimes. I've been in the beauty industry ever since, helping people sort of bring their concepts to market, and helping other people sort of refine businesses that are already in market, and for sort of the bigger businesses, bringing sort of that entrepreneurial sensibility to projects that they have.
And that's an important aspect is when a business is really small, being able to have that knowingness, if you will, that there are certain entrepreneurial characteristics that are there, and also when you're working with a bigger business, being able to instill in that business some of that entrepreneurial spirit. Do you find that that is difficult to cultivate, and that there's actually things that you need to do in both a small business and a large business to get them to think like an entrepreneur?
Well, I think it's always important to sort of level set on any project what you're dealing with. So sort of what are the objectives of the project at hand? What are the strengths and weaknesses of either the product or the marketing strategy, or sometimes it's the people. With entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs that are self-funding their businesses, the inclination is to be sort of chief cook and bottle washer, because money's tight. And while it is sort of almost like a gut reaction, it's not always the most efficient way to build a business, because as the entrepreneur, your time is also an asset. So I think with entrepreneurs, having been there myself, it's sort of understanding how their minds work, and also having a respect for the fact that, they may have just dumped their entire life savings into making their dream happen. And then conversely, working in, a Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 company, you have to respect the structure of the business. And as an entrepreneur, you can make business decisions very quickly, and in larger businesses, that's simply not possible. Right.
So bring us to today. Today, you have a number of businesses that you have under your management at this point and ownership. Tell us first of all about what brand growth management is.
Sure. So, at one point I realized that I was really good at building concepts and bringing them to market and scaling them to a certain point, but I wasn't as good at monetizing them to sort of their full potential. So I decided to partner with someone who had that skill set, was firmly entrenched sort of in the finance and operations side of the business, and we went into business together to build brand growth management. And what we do is provide strategy guidance to brands who are looking for financing or looking for market entry strategies. So there is a bit of branding and marketing, but it's also grounded in financial models. And then we also look for investment opportunities. So that's sort of what drives that business.
And so did that business then lead you to develop Beauty Matters?
It did. So, anytime you start a new business, the first thing I think about is how am I going to market this? So, in a previous business, the marketing vehicle I used was case studies, and I wanted to do it a little bit differently this time. I'm like, who really cares about, the work that we've done? Once you're done with it, it's sort of like you're bored and on to the next thing anyway, and it felt a little self-aggrandizing. So I consume a lot of content, and I made a commitment with a friend of mine who was like, you don't market yourself enough, and I made a commitment to putting out one content piece a month. So the idea came like, how am I going to sort of put a system in place to be able to actually do this? And I started creating a quarterly report, which was an M&A recap report, because one of the things that people would always ask is, do you know which business just sold? What's the multiple? All these things, because people always have an exit strategy in mind. And while all this information is available online, my first reaction is like, well, just Google it. I don't know.
Right.
I decided, maybe there's something here. So I did sort of a quarterly roundup, a loose roundup of mergers and acquisitions activity. And 3 years later, it's turned into this sort of thing that people expect, even the financial community. And I think it's because the information is broken down in a way that's easily digestible. There's an opinion there. And that was what made me think that there was, from a content perspective, for the beauty industry, so in a B2B sensibility, a void in what sort of content was being produced. A lot of the B2B content were magazines that have just been sort of turned into websites. So aesthetically, they didn't really represent sort of the visual of the beauty industry that we think of. And, a lot of them are, it's a primary business for them, so they're revenue generating and there's advertisers involved. And so I wanted to come to the table and bring sort of a fresh perspective from sort of the indie world, but also bring a curated view of content that showed the inspiration that I was having. So it's not just the beauty industry. I think sometimes we tend to be a little insular in what we look at for inspiration. So it's anything from art to architecture to travel to sort of anything I find that's interesting. It's also a little bit tech heavy. Had this idea for about 7 years. Found a team that was leaving an agency and could help me build it, and finally took the leap. I think one of the things that happens as you get a little more seasoned in your career, I knew that I couldn't go out and just try it, that it needed to be right. So it took me 7 years to do it, and we did it, and people seem to be interested in reading it, and we're off to the races, and we'll sort of see how the business manifests itself. But right now it's a marketing vehicle for the consulting work that I do. That's sort of the other side of the brain, which is more creative. So it's more end-to-end marketing strategies. We have a digital team, a design team, and all of that consulting work happens under the umbrella of Beauty Matter. And that team also supports some of the other businesses that I'm involved in.
And so as you look at this material, and you've been, particularly with the mergers and acquisitions, from that, is there particular insights that you have garnered that come as a surprise to you?
Yes. I think that with anything, there's a business cycle. And I think one of the things that's interesting, and I think it's really sort of changing the industry in many respects, has been the number of transactions and the size of transactions that have happened in the past 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden you have multiple deals that have been in north of $1 billion. I mean, those are not indie brands. Those are big businesses.
Right.
And so all of a sudden you have private equity sort of running these businesses and selling them to each other and then selling them to strategic. So the bar to entry has really been raised from a capital investment standpoint.
Right. All right, great. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about those observations and specifically how Kelly is able to turn this into seeing white space in the market or opportunities in the market and how she helps brands turn these things into assets. So stay with us. We will be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm Patty Smucker, your host, and I'm here with Kelly Kovack of Beauty Matters. Kelly, we've talked a little bit about how you have aggregated all sorts of content and information about the beauty industry, and what I love is that you also mentioned about auxiliary businesses that influence beauty. Tell us a little bit about what that has done in terms of you being able to see white space or opportunities.
Yeah, so I think as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for an opportunity, either from a product perspective or a new way of marketing or a distribution channel, because even if you do raise capital, there's not sort of an unlimited budget. So very often I find inspiration from other consumer goods categories. I mean, definitely fashion, definitely retail sort of outside the U.S. market, and for sure technology.
And why retail outside of the U.S. market?
Well, I think the retail footprint, I'm in New York, so it's very difficult to sort of start a retail business in New York because rents are prohibitively expensive. Right. So I think sometimes the most interesting, and maybe it's also just personal preference, but some of the most interesting retail concepts I found have been when I'm traveling. And I think some of the retailers that I always get inspired by have been around for a long time, but now they are sort of very trendy, sort of from a conceptual standpoint, and they're concept stores. So Ten Corso Como in Italy, Colette in Paris. There are a handful of these businesses that are 10, 15, 20 years old. And that's always where I got my inspiration from a retail perspective and assortment. And they seem to find brands no one else had. But in the age of the internet, finding something undiscovered is not such an easy task anymore.
Mm-hmm. And so being able to see what they're finding as interesting helps to inspire and inform you as far as how to take that and apply it here in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned also that one of the other industries that you look at is technology. What's the link between the technology and beauty?
Well, I think that beauty, it's changing a little bit, but I think beauty has not been an early adopter when it's come to technology. Mm-hmm. Especially when we're talking about sort of e-commerce, digital marketing. I would say in the past 2 years that's changed because now we're seeing brands that are sort of born online and then enter traditional distribution after they already have a solid business. But I think following sort of what's happening in the technology space, from user experience online and marketing, and also products. It's kind of a very male-dominated category, but there's a lot that can be applied to the beauty industry, and I think we're seeing that happen more and more, especially in the tool category, and in sort of augmented reality and that sort of thing.
And so is it basically looking at those various different types of data points that help you to see what you call white space?
Yeah, I mean, I think that white space is sort of an amalgam of many things. But at the end of the day, it's either sort of a need in the market that's not being served, either in the form of a service or a product, or it may be a product that's just positioned in a different way, or at retail, sort of a category that doesn't exist. So a good example of sort of a white space opportunity, a recent one that I'm involved in, is So Cozy, which is a children's hair care brand. And so there was Cozy Friedman opened 2 kids' hair salons in New York City 22 years ago. And we realized that there was really no category for children. So you had baby products, and then you had sort of kids' products, but they were really just baby products in sort of a fish shape. Right. And they all had these default settings of, from a graphic standpoint, the landscape was very predictable. So it was either the cartoon character du jour, or it ended up being sort of very childish, or they had marketing pictures of these very perfectly groomed children on a perfect green lawn. None of these things are terribly interesting. So we saw a category opportunity at retail. We saw a demographic opportunity, and we also saw an opportunity from sort of a visual landscape perspective. So we took the authority and built a product line and pitched it to retailers. And we knew that the need was there. The demographic is 2 to 12. These kids exist. They're using something. And what we found was that many parents were using adult products on kids. So we went about, doing research and finding out what parents would be looking for products for their children, and developed a line. I think, with white space, there also comes a challenge. So if it doesn't exist in the market, the first thing you're going to hear when you go to a retailer is, I have nowhere to put this, because they don't carry the market. So I think white space opportunities are kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, there may be this void or this need in the market, but you also have to have the means to sort of get it to the consumers.
Right. And so what was it that parents of kids 2 to 12 were looking for that didn't already exist in their adult products that they were using on their kids?
They were looking for safe formulations.
Okay.
So, kids today have a lot of allergies. And I think parents always want to buy sort of the best for their children and the safest products for their children. So these formulations are non-toxic, clean formulations. There's, there's no nuts, there's no gluten, there's no phthalates, there's no synthetic color. There's a laundry list of free of statement, but also they work. So, it was sort of salon formulas for kids. So parents wanted products that worked, but they also wanted them to be safe as well. And they also liked them because the kids thought the packaging was cool, so they wanted to use them.
Right. So that cool factor was one of the other things, because, to get the kid to use it, there's going to definitely have to be that cool factor. It's interesting, though, that the real work is really strategic. It's knowing how to ask the right questions and to be able to gather the data so that you can make strategic assumptions about where to go. Do you find that it's difficult to get business owners to practice that discipline?
It is, especially entrepreneurs that have an idea they want to bring to market. I don't know how many entrepreneurs that I've met that either one of two things, either we're building a brand for them, and the thing I keep asking them is, okay, but where are you going to sell it? How are you going to sell it? And they keep sort of pushing it off, and they're like, no problem, no problem, no problem. And they spend all this money making this brand, investing in inventory, and then they haven't thought about how they're going to launch it, where they're going to launch it. It's not the most exciting part of the business for many people, but it doesn't matter how good your product is if you have no way of getting it on the shelves and then getting it off the shelves, you don't have a business.
Right. Well, and that goes back to your point earlier about, the exciting part in beauty is thinking all of these great ideas and actually going and formulating and making it and making the packaging and making the visual imagery and all of that kind of stuff. But in reality, making it is the easy part. Making it successful and monetizing it is really where it takes a discipline. And so oftentimes we find that's where people fall off. It's so many companies that have some really, really cool ideas, and yet they can't seem to make it really a sustainable business because they haven't thought through all of those elements.
Absolutely.
As you look at where the marketplace is today, is there anything that sticks out in your mind as sort of a glaring opportunity for beauty sector? Just a quick idea.
I don't know if it's a glaring opportunity, but I do think that we've seen a lot of activity sort of in the color cosmetic segment. And I think that in the next year or two, hair care is going to be really important, and we're going to see more of an interest in skincare as well.
Okay, great. All right, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about a business that Kelly is involved in that is helping brands get their products to the consumer. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Hi, this is Patty Smucker with American Made Beauty at RadioAMB. We're here with Kelly Kovack of Beauty Matters, and we've been talking about how Kelly has developed a business over the years, helping brands recognize where there's opportunities in the market and developing the strategic approach to bringing the products to market. And we've also talked about the idea that making it easy, it's making it profitable, that takes a whole different set of disciplines. Kelly, tell us a little bit about an organization that you started working with called Allworks.
Sure. So I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't consider if they're not from the industry is that, opening a retail door is probably the easiest part of the equation, but getting the products off the shelf is something else entirely, and it requires people. So all of those people that you see sort of offering you samples or wanting to spray you with fragrance, they all work for brands, and I would say the majority of them are probably freelancers. Mm-hmm. So brands of all sizes, from the biggest brands in the industry to complete startups, have the same struggle, and that's finding the right people to represent their brands in retail stores. And there's also not an easy way to manage all of these freelancers. So they don't work for you as employees. You're dealing with 50 different employment laws and tax codes. So it's a really complicated venture when you get into it. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't have that body in the store, the sales are just not going to happen. Right. And it's a different kind of white space, and it was born out of the pain both myself and Scott Gerfine, who's the chairman and the chief revenue officer of the business, felt firsthand because we've had our own brands and we've been in that position of managing really large freelancer budgets without really being able to tie it back to ROI, knowing whether people showed up in the store, how much they really sold. It's a little bit like herding cats.
Right.
So what we've developed is a talent management platform that provides sort of an end-to-end solution for people. When we get through sort of the beta testing, it will be the equivalent of kind of what Uber's done for transportation. So you can say, I have 4 hours at Bloomingdale's on 57th Street. You put it out there, and someone wants to pick up a shift, and the connection's made, and the products get sold. So if there's also sort of this hidden job market. So there are thousands and thousands of jobs in the beauty industry that go unfilled every single day. And they're specifically these jobs. They're brands looking for freelancers to work in any number of retailers across the country. And there just aren't enough qualified people or interested people or an easy way to access them. Very often it's done through staffing agencies, which are really expensive. Or people don't really know that they exist, or it's a way to get into the beauty industry. So we have a Facebook page called Cosmetic Peeps, which is community-based, and it's brands posting jobs and people looking for jobs, and so there's this community-based feeder for retail talent to get jobs. And All Work is a technology platform that makes it all happen. So essentially what we're doing is empowering brands with the ability to manage their retail talent more efficiently. And on the flip side, what we're doing for the retail talent is helping them find jobs more easily and on a more regular basis.
Right. And so let's go back for a second. You have the Facebook page, and what is it? What is that called?
It's called Cosmetic Peeps.
Peeps, like P-E-E-P?
P-E-E-P.
Okay. And so I am looking for an opportunity. I join your community. I can basically sign up to be able to represent beauty companies. How do you train me to represent a particular brand?
Yeah, so right now we're just sort of in our early launch, and the software will be developing. So we have a profile that someone interested in beauty would fill out. So it's like it's kind of like Match.com.
Right.
So it's your profile. You can upload video. It's where you've worked before. So even if you're not in the beauty industry, but you're interested in the beauty industry, there is a way for you to market yourself.
Okay. Okay, great.
So the profile actually gets filled out on All Work. And we have a brand side and we have a retail talent side. So the brands post jobs, and then, the talent looks for jobs, and then they meet. So the vetting is, at this point, really up to the brands. We showcase their experience, but as the platform evolves, there will be a whole education piece to sort of accredit people and do sort of additional learning in the category. But right now it's just more of a matching system.
The matching system, great. And so is this something that is available now, or when will it be available?
It's available now. We are in 2 markets, New York and LA, but in March it'll be nationwide. So we're already taking applicants nationwide, and we're doing some tests with clients if they have a real need in sort of a market outside the 2 beta tests. We have a staffing concierge that will help them place those jobs.
Great, great. So it sounds like you've got, as always, you've got your hands in all sorts of different things. If someone wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to do that?
So the best way is to just send me an email at kelly.kovack@beautymatter.com, or you can do it through the website as well, or I'm easy to find on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So any of those methods work.
Okay, great. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure
to
learn more about your business, and stay with us as we wrap up our show with a new segment on wellness. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Welcome back. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. You know, in the past, we've had a number of guests from the wellness industry. One of my favorite brands that I work with today is Universal Company. They're a leading resource for education, equipment, products for the spa, wellness, and beauty market in North America. They're also on the cutting edge of helping to define and usher in a new culture of wellness. After working closely with Universal and other companies in the wellness space these last few years, I decided to start in 2017 a project to really look at wellness. And I actually wanted to look at health and longevity, so I looked it up, and I actually went to a clinic in California. My goal is to investigate the subject called wellness and how our industry can make it more accessible to the average person to be able to realistically achieve holistic health. Now, in all transparency, in April of 2018, I'll be 60. Look, I feel great. I work out. I love much about myself. But like all of us, I have areas that I know I can be healthier. So I've decided during the next 14 months, I'm going to chart my progress and take you, my listeners, along on this journey. Beginning today, we'll hold out this last segment of the show as an update for holistic health and figuring out what it means, what are the options for exploring, and hopefully find ways to make all of this accessible for the average person. So let's start by talking about what exactly is wellness and what's the industries that are composed, that's made up of this segment they call wellness. In fact, there's actually an institute that's been doing this for the last 40 years called the Global Wellness Institute. They're a 501c3 corporation, and their Global Wellness Economy Monitor from 2017 actually defines wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyle that lead to a state of holistic health. They tell us that the global wellness sector today is a $3.7 trillion economy. And it's very interesting to look at what's made up of that. So today I want to tell you a little bit about what's made up of wellness and some of the things that I'm going to be studying over these next few months as we do this segment. So the first thing is that the wellness segment is made up of all sorts of different types of industries. And the biggest surprise to me is that beauty and anti-aging is the biggest player at $999 billion. This player is essentially beauty salons and services, which includes skin, hair, nail services. It does not include spa services. The second largest player is healthy eating and nutrition, which includes vitamins and supplements, and weight loss management products. The third player is at $563 billion is wellness tourism, which combines everything spent both internationally and domestically on lodging, food, beverage, activities, and excursions specifically for wellness kind of vacations. The next player is fitness and mind body, which includes gyms, health clubs, personal trainers, yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, martial arts, and exercise equipment and device. Next, we have preventive and personal medicine and public health. This includes treatment for wellness, so your preventive disease, detecting risk factors, routine physical exam, diagnosis, and screening tests. At $1.9 billion are two sectors, complementary and alternative medicine, which encompasses diverse medical health care, holistic and mental and spiritual-based systems, basically things that are not considered part of conventional medicine. And then the wellness lifestyle real estate, which is residential and hospitality and mixed-use real estate that incorporates some element of wellness, human, social, or environmental health. What's very surprising is that at the very bottom of this category are spa and thermal mineral springs. Now, I would have thought, if somebody had asked me what makes up the wellness category, that spa would have been much bigger on the list. But the fact is that they're not. They're among the bottom three categories within the sector. Spa refers to spa and related clusters of spa businesses like therapists and spa consulting and investments and that type of thing. And then therapeutic mineral springs encompasses revenue-generating businesses that use water for therapeutic purposes. Finally, the last segment that's in the wellness category is workplace wellness, which includes expenditures on programs, services, activities, and equipment by employers aimed at improving their employees' health and wellness. So that's what makes up this $3.7 trillion industry. And so as I start this evaluation and I begin studying this in more detail, there's a couple of things that sort of really stick out to me, and we'll together do some more research on. But the first is that the largest player in the wellness sector is beauty from the outside in. You know, I'm not discounting the importance of salons, getting your hair done, skin services, nail services by professionals, licensed professionals. That sector also includes dermatologists that are working on skin care and anti-aging. But it does reflect more of a Western approach to our wellness, if you will. And so that's just something that's interesting to observe as we start this process. I also find it interesting that the next biggest category is healthy eating, nutrition, weight loss, and because what we put in our mouth and how we take care of ourselves is so important, but it represents, it's 46% smaller than beauty and anti-aging. So that's a very interesting point. Perhaps it speaks volumes about the reason why so many of us are struggling with achieving holistic health, because as I've mentioned on the show before, the Ayurvedic philosophy says that with good diet, medicine is of no need, and without a good diet, medicine is of no value. So that'll be an interesting sector to sort of dig in more and take a look at. The third largest sector is taking wellness vacations, which I find encouraging. I mean, starting this journey, one of the things that I really recognize is that to make improvements in our lives, or for me, to make long-lasting improvements, it's taking incremental steps. You know, I defined radiant beauty as, number one, having no regrets. Being able to show up authentically in people's lives and in your life, and giving others the benefit of the doubt. And finally, taking care of my body, my mind, and my spirit in ways that bring me joy. And I think that taking a wellness vacation is a great way to introduce new concepts. I think back on summer camp. I remember going to summer camp, and there were like some life-altering experiences that occur. So I can just imagine that a wellness vacation can give me that kind of experience as well. As we go deeper in some other observations that I made, fitness and mind, body, which includes clothing. So I thought that that was very interesting because with the explosion of yoga brands of clothing and active leisure wear, it's a growing sector, and I know a lot of people that wear these types of clothes and never work out. So stay tuned as we look deeper into that particular segment. Fifth segment is preventive and personalized medicine and public health, and I personally hope that this will explode. It's a little skewed because of the fact that it also contains some of revenue from technology, like kinds of things that you use for monitoring health. But I really believe that proactive health care is responsible for the reason why I'm here to share this insight, because it was during my own annual physical that they found cancer for me 25 years ago when I was 33. So wellness is a very interesting and exciting opportunity. There's so much that's happening, and I'm excited to talk more about it and give you some insights so that you too will be able to access some of this information and come along with my journey in helping me and maybe helping you to achieve more holistic health. Stay with us next week, or join us next week, as we learn from one of beauty mavens in matching ingredients to skin conditions to achieve intended results. Sunshine Botanicals will be with us. Emily Fritchery will be here, and that'll be a great show. I'm Patty Smucker. Thank you for listening to Radio AMB, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.